In today's show, we recap the action from Monday in the NBA. Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy Basketball, your daily fantasy basketball podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and I'm the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com. And you can find me on Twitter, as always, at redrock_Beeble, on TikTok at redrock_Beeble, and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. What was I going to say? Thank you for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms. That was weird. We're here to recap the 6 games on Monday, catch you up on news, moves that people have been making on the waiver wire. So, Warnie.
Let's get it on, Gilly.
All right. Let's look at some news items. The man on the street, Jordan Clarkson.
JordanClarkson.
Will Hardy was very much in shutdown setup mode in the pregame press conference, talking about Clarkson not being able to catch the ball. And some days it's good and then it gets worse and blah, blah, blah. The whole quote, it's a pretty big quote. It says, based on his workout yesterday, there was nothing that was going to happen this morning that would have activated him. The dislocation of his finger has been bothering him. He's having a hard time catching the ball, which is pretty important. We've tried a variety of different wraps on it. It's one of those things that may just need a little bit of time and rest to heal. But Clarkson is tough, as you guys know. He plays through everything. But if you can't catch the ball with his left hand, it's hard to put him out there in a game. Watching him go through workouts, he's protecting it a little bit. He's somebody that's going to have to go through his own rehab every day. One day he feels closer, and the next day it's really sore. So he's just not going to play for a while, I'm guessing. And that might be it for him for the season. And he had a similar quote on Larry Marketing. Yeah, I think it's when he got banged in the back against the Thunder, and some days it's just really sore. So I think they're just setting up that these guys are going to miss time. I'm not denying there's an injury here with Clarkson. It's fine. It's more that we know that they're able to sort of massage the timeline on it. So again, as I've said, with the Jazz, I do believe they're going to find a way to make sure that Agbaji is starting every game. And whether that's through Olynyk, Markkanen, or Clarkson being out, or sometimes two of those three, they will find a way to do that. And that's, if you want to drop Jordan Clarkson, doesn't sound like he'll play this week, go ahead. For the Celtics, Marcus Smart and Rob Williams are off the injury report. Now I expect Rob's going to come back and actually play off the bench and play like 20 minutes. So Derek White should still start, but they will have their full team healthy outside of Peyton Pritchard for tomorrow's game. Just albeit I imagine Rob Williams is going to be on a minutes limit, but he is returning. Ja Morant looks like he's going to be back for the Grizzlies on Wednesday. So if you do want to drop Tyus Jones after today's action, go ahead and do that. Even if Morant's not back Wednesday, I don't think it's going to be the game after that. But I'm pretty sure he's going to be returning on Wednesday, meaning Tyus's value goes down pretty quickly. Although Dylan Brooks will be suspended in that game because he cannot help himself, cannot help just being a giant cock. He has got another tech today, so he will be suspended for Wednesday's game. So maybe that preserves Tyus a little bit. But in the past, that hasn't really been the case. We don't get huge amounts of Tyus playing with Ja, but we might get a little bit of a boost there that if you did want to hold through Wednesday, just in case Ja doesn't play, and you'll have Brooks out as well, then Jones is going to have big value. We also got another update on Karl Anthony Towns, and it's good, but I also don't know what to make of it. Saying that he's getting really, really close. All right, cool. I don't think he's back this week, but maybe it's next week that Towns returns. I don't know. They said that there was an article on The Athletic about Towns saying he had suffered some sort of setback in January, and that's pushed back this timeline. I'm not sure why we didn't hear about that 3 months ago, but that's where we're at. So I don't think we get Towns back this week, but it is possible next week. But when he comes back, he's going to be pretty limited, you would think, for at least a week when he gets back, playing 22, 25 minutes a night maybe. That's still really good. It's Karl Anthony Towns, of course. But we still don't have a firm timeline on when he is returning. If you look at the waiver wire, the most added players over the last 24 hours off the wire, number 1 was Aaron Nesmith up 38%. Number 2 was Andrew Nembhard up 16%. They both struggled mightily in the Pacers game today with Mathurin back. Nesmith is always an iffy one, and if Jordan Nwora plays behind him, Nesmith struggles. That's been the pattern basically since Nwora arrived, and we saw that today. Nembhard, you couldn't really predict he was going to be that bad. Paddy Beverly up 12% with Caruso out. That's good. Malik Monk up 8% with Kevin Huerter out. Taylor Horton-Tucker up 8%. Not sure why he was actually sort of sitting on the wire. Were they waiting for Clarkson to get ruled out? I don't know. He should be rostered anyway. I know he was dropped for a 2-game week last week, but he should have been re-snagged. TJ McConnell up 7%. I'm still rolling with him, even though the minutes were a bit down today. Hartenstein, that's the 3-game in 4 nights for the Knicks here to start the week. And Austin Reeves up 6%. People really love what he did yesterday. They don't play Monday, Tuesday. I don't mind that out of Reeves. But I'm not sure he's actually good enough to maintain value through 2 zeros to start the week. It's fine. We use him, and it's not a problem to add him, but yeah, I'm a little bit iffy. In terms of the most dropped players, the passport legend himself, Jalen Duren, dropped in 18% of leagues. They only have a 2-game week. He's out one of them. 1 game. See you later. And with all the nonsense with Wiseman and Bagley, yeah, very hard to hold on to him. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, down 8%. 2-game week. You drop him, no problem. Jeremy Sohan, down 7%.
Zohan now.
Cool. No problem. The Spurs are, as usual, all over the place. We are, we look at their lineup for tomorrow, who's in and who's out. Sohan's one of the guys out, but we knew that on this back-to-back that they weren't going to play guys. So Sohan's out, Devin Vassell is out, Zach Collins is out, Ken Birch is out, and Devontae Graham is questionable. Now, they'll all probably play on Wednesday, and then you go back and add Sohan in that scenario. Jalen Suggs down 7% with his concussion, sure. Bruce Brown, 2-game week, down 7%, easy drop. Bismack Biyombo down 6% with Ayton probably returning, but yeah, he's a clear drop. You can stream him in if Ayton misses again. Josh Richardson down 6%. Yeah, 2 games out of his last 3 sub 20 minutes. I don't mind a stream of value on Richardson, but I just don't know where the minutes lie, so he's hard to really hold through everything. And then the depressed penis, Sadiq Bey, down 5%. The Hawks are really marginalizing him at the moment. They do play Tuesday, Wednesday back-to-back, so maybe you could have held on to Bey there and got the 2 games in, but his actual per-game production doesn't justify him being a 12-team league player. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The tournament is heating up, and now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. New customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's bonus bets back if your first bet doesn't win. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. It's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Then you can bet on everything from the money line to point scorers, even three-pointers drained. We can go and have a look at the NBA title odds, because that's where we're at on that. The Bucks are favorite outright over the Celtics, and there's a pretty big gap. The Suns, the Nuggets, and the Sixers are in the 5th spot. I think the last time we looked at that, the Warriors were in 5th spot for the NBA title on FanDuel. But FanDuel also lets you combine bets in single games for a chance at a bigger payout with that same game parlay. So don't miss the chance to get your no-sweat first bet up to $1,000 in bonus bets when you go to FanDuel.com/lockedon. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon to learn more. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. And don't forget to gamble responsibly. Let's go into these games. First game up, the Indiana Pacers. Cool. They take on the Charlotte Hornets, or they took on the Charlotte Hornets. The Hornets win at 115-109. The Pacers were, as I said, without Tyrese Halliburton, but they did get back Benedict Mathurin. There was no Chris Duarte in this one. Mathurin came back and started straight away, played 30 minutes. 18, 3 and 2 on 70% shooting. Now, we look at that, and it's great. But as we know, his inability to contribute in multiple categories is what hurts. 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and he got to 18 points on 70% shooting. Even he was at minus 21, which stinks, and he was below 20% usage. He has not been a good category league player all season. Sure, you can take a crack at him, but just because Halliburton's out doesn't mean he's going to be this big, gigantic blow-up player. It's not through lack of opportunities that he's struggled for fantasy this season. Some of it is, I guess, a little bit of that, but I don't really think that's the main thing. And then we thought we had a pattern. We thought we knew, all right, let's go Isaiah Jackson, backup center for 2 games. And he was. He was the backup center. He played 20 minutes. This was what we thought would happen. He would get the backup center minutes in this game and the next game. 12 and 10 for Jackson, a steal and 3 blocks. Absolutely love it. What I thought in the preseason was Jackson would play 18 to 20 minutes a game. There'd be nights that Turner would sit out and there was a chance that Turner would get traded. So you pick him at 100, 120, and there's actually top 50 upside if he gets the starting job. But then, of course, we got dicked. He played limited minutes. He got taken out of the rotation. But this is why. In 20 minutes, 12 and 10, steal 3 blocks is easily a 12-team league player. Easily. That's why I wanted to take him in round 11 or round 10 or whatever it was, hoping that we'd get this consistent playing time. And now, 5 months on, I'm still just as confused because Jalen Smith played 20 minutes as well as the backup power forward. So I don't know what to make of it. Smith, 10 and 6 with a block. Okay. So we get him playing minutes now with Duarte and Halliburton out. I don't know what to make of this. Is Jackson going to stay as the backup center and Smith plays power forward? I don't know. If Jackson's the backup center, then yes, we can use him in 12-team leagues. But I don't know. Miles Turner only 28 minutes, 20 and 7, 5 assists, no defensive stats, 10 of 11 from the line. I think he's going to sit some games coming up. His shot blocking has just disappeared. I wonder if his back injury actually is real. And then McConnell only played 23 minutes. Now, the fact that McConnell played 23 minutes, Nwora played 21, Nembhard played 29, Neesmith played 17, that's how Jalen Smith was able to get 20 minutes. Because all of those guys had been playing bigger minutes. So they went and pushed a lot of those guys who were filling in at the 4 down to the 2 and the 3, enabling Smith and Brissett to play at the 4 a lot. McConnell, 23 minutes, 8, 4, and 8, 2 steals. Now, even though that's 23 minutes is annoying, he shot 22%. So on a normal night where he's a 50% shooter, we're talking about 12, 4, 8, 2 steals, which is still awesome. So keep going with him until Halliburton returns. As for Nwora, 7 and 6 in 21 minutes, not enough for us to matter, so move on from him. Nembhard, 2, 2, and 6 in 29 minutes on 17% shooting. I love the 6 assists. That's actually really useful. So I might be inclined to hold a little bit there, but I'm not super into it. And then, as usual, once Jordan Nwora moves to the bench and he backs up Neesmith, he plays more minutes than Neesmith. It's a system that makes no sense whatsoever, but it's what Rick Carlisle does. Neesmith played 17 minutes and had 4 points. Why did he play only 17 minutes? Well, it wasn't because he was a bad negative, because he was -5 and the others got to -20. It wasn't that he shot poorly. It was because he was at 67%. It was, though, that he had 5 fouls in 17 minutes. So does that tell us anything? I don't know. That probably helps Jalen Smith's playing time as well. So all in all, we saw some stuff, but I'm not sure that it tells us anything about how this team's going to look in the future, which is frustrating. For the Hornets, there was no Mark Williams, so Nick Richards played 26 minutes, 14, 17, 2 blocks. Great. Love that. We keep rolling with Richards until Williams returns. Hayward played 33 minutes, 22, 3 and 5, and Rozier played 23, 1 and 9. Good numbers from those guys. Well, Oubre was actually really, really efficient, except from the line. 59% shooting from the field and 56 from the line, which is horrendous. He also had 4 steals and 0 assists. Kai Jones getting the backup minutes at deeper leagues. You pay some attention there. 2 points is shocking, but 3 rebounds and 2 blocks is pretty good. While Dennis Smith also stunk shooting the ball. 2 points on 10% is terrible. But everything else is all right. 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals. And you have Smith for assists and steals with some rebounds. You need to absorb bad shooting, but yeah, you can't absorb 10%. That's tough. Still is a rosterable option. PJ Washington had 10 points on 36%. He also shot 25 from the line, so just horrendous all around. He did bring 2 steals and a block, but overall that inefficiency from PJ, which has been a real problem, and it's why he's not inside the top 120 this season, beat you very, very firmly right on the ass in this game. This next game went to double overtime. The Bulls beat the Sixers 109-105 on the road. Bad loss for Philly. Good win for Chicago. The double overtime. I think that's the second Bulls double overtime game in about the last 4 games, which is obviously weird. So we're going to see some big numbers here. Obviously, Alex Caruso was out. They started Pat Williams, which is what I thought they would do last time. They didn't. They started Dosunmu, but they went to Williams here. And he was bad. 32 minutes, 6 points, 17%, 1 block, 4 rebounds. One thing we know in life is that we cannot rely upon Patrick Williams. You see an opportunity that might look good and you go, ooh, and then he stinks. And then you see a situation where he's on the bench and he plays 28 minutes and has 14, 5 and 4 with 3 blocks and 2 steals. And you go, that's great. And then he does this. Like, it's impossible to rely upon him. I feel much better almost relying upon Kobe White, who had 11, 3 and 2 in 27 minutes. Had a locker room trip, was able to return, while Beverly played 40 minutes, 6, 4 and 2, steal a block, 2 threes, 20% shooting. Some bad shooting numbers right across the NBA on Monday. Beverly is the guy to have here if Caruso was out, and then Williams and White are sort of interchangeable behind that. Vooch had 21 and 12 with 4 steals. You don't get that from Vooch very often.
It's Big Vucevic.
While the skater boy Zach LaVine had 26, 2 and 7 with 3 steals and a block. DeRozan was fine, 25 and 8. 3 steals and a block, nothing particularly exciting there. While Javonte Green returned, played 9 minutes and had a rebound. I'm not sure where he really fits in to the rotation here. And Derek Jones got the nod here with 17 minutes, while Drummond played only 7. For the Sixers, Embiid fouled out, but not before having 37, 16, 1 steal, and 3 blocks. Melton played 39 minutes with PJ Tucker out. Great. 19, 6, and 1, 4 steals, a block, and 5 threes. I don't know why they didn't start him. They had to give that honor to Daniel House for some reason, but that's great for Melton. And it gives him, obviously, some scope for us to hold. He continues to be extraordinarily frustrating with playing time and production, but that is a great game. Tyrese Maxey, 22, 5, and 6, and getting 6 assists is great out of Maxey. You don't get that often, but we're going to talk about Jim Harden. He was putrid. 5 points, 14% shooting. That is horrendous. Now, he did buffer it. It's why he's a good fantasy player. 7 rebounds, 12 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. But shooting-wise and offensively, that's a really, really bad game. Toby Harris had 14 and 9 with a steal and a block, which is okay, but it took 47 minutes to get there. That's a line you expect in 30 minutes, and that's why, again, he continues to struggle, Harris. Not a bad game. Again, totally okay, but the overall production there in the huge minutes is what worries us. While Shake Milton, who'd been playing tons, didn't see the floor, really. He did. He played 10 minutes for 2 points, which is annoying. Again, trying to predict where these values come from, and he was going up and up and up and up, and then Doc said, nah. See you later. We'd rather play Daniel House for reasons I don't know. Also, the fewest minutes on the team go to Jalen McDaniels in 9 minutes, which again, I think is a complete misuse of players. I think Jalen McDaniels is a good player, and I don't really know why Doc isn't giving him minutes. All right, the next game. I guess the title of this game is What Do I Know? Because the Wolves 140 beat the Knicks 134 on the back of Taurean Prince going bananas. And I said I didn't like the fact that they started Taurean Prince for Anthony Edwards. It didn't make a lot of sense to me. And Prince struggled last game. But in this one, he had 35 points with 8 triples on 92% shooting. Now, of course, that's awesome if you streamed him in today. There's no way of predicting that, and there's no way it carries over. He's not a 92% shooter. Literally nobody is. He went 8 of 8 for 3. He was shocking last game. This is an amazing game. Don't fall into the trap. Mike Conley, that's fine. We know he can do this. 24, 4, 11, 2 steals and a block. Jalen Noel, first game back. Chucked up some big numbers. 14, 1 and 4, 3 steals and a block. If Edwards remains out, Noel is in the mix as a guy that can be a high usage scorer. Gobert, 16 and 7, steal and a block, not bad. McDaniels, only 26 minutes for Jaden, with some foul trouble early, as usual for him. 18 points there. And Kyle Anderson wasn't at his best, 10, 9 and 5, but it's still not a bad game. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Anthony Edwards goes down, nothing changes for him. 19 minutes, 8 points. Literally the same playing time. While Austin Rivers out of the rotation with 3 minutes. So we saw the big performance from Prince. We saw a return from Jalen Noel, which was pretty unlikely yesterday, or a couple of days ago. This morning when he was doubtful, and then he got upgraded and played and dropped in 14 points with 3 steals and a block, which is a great game. Is Prince worth an ad? I really don't think so. We've got 2 games of him starting. One absolutely amazing, one shithouse. The reality is somewhere in the middle, and the reality is probably as a 14-team league player. Noel's more interesting because I've seen him continually go off and be a high usage guy. Now, he was a minus 14 in a game they won by 6, despite scoring 14 points in 20 minutes. So it tells you a little bit about some of the other impact that he had. But if he's able to go out there and generate some scoring with some steals like in today's game, that makes him useful. But overall, this is more of a confusing game than a game that points us to anything, I think, moving forward. For the Knicks, the double royal Julius Randle. 37 minutes, 57 points. That is a huge game. 8 threes, 4 rebounds and a steal. Shot 66 from the field and 85 from the line. Just all around stupendous numbers. Before today, he was 85th in category leagues over the last week. This is just a gigantic game. Brunson, 23, 2 and 10, 37 minutes. They are the 2 leading this team. Quickly played 28 minutes, 19 points, not much else, only 38% shooting. He does remain a hole, but after Thursday, he's going to be a drop. While Hartenstein played 20 minutes, 5, 8, and 3. And remember, the reason that we added Hartenstein, the reason that Hartenstein was on that most added players list was because the value is in the volume. It's 3 games in 4 nights, and then after Thursday, we move on. Grimes had 3, 2, and 2 in 21 minutes, and his value is long gone.
This briefcase and this haircut.
And Rowan Barrett, they bench him. Josh Hart and quickly get minutes over him. 27 minutes, 13, 2, and 3. That is in no circumstance a 12-team league guy, but 2 more games before Thursday. We hold until Thursday if we've got him, and then we move on after that. Mitchie Robinson, 28 minutes and went scoreless. He took 1 shot, as is the case with Thibodeau centers. 2 steals, 2 blocks for him, so that gets it done. While Joshy Hart, 10, 5, and 4, 2 steals and a block in 31 minutes. We knew that Hart would have an impact on Grimes, I didn't think that he'd have so much of an impact on what RJ Barrett is doing. But that's really been the case. Barrett's really fallen off. Going to have another season, RJ, of not finishing inside the top 150 for category leagues. And Hart you're cutting into that playing time as quickly and him get the minutes coming off the bench. It's weird that, again, Thibodeau loves doing this. He's done it in the past with guys that he starts and then doesn't finish games with, who was the bloke in Chicago? Ronnie Brewer, I think. He did it with Alfred Payton for a long period with the Knicks as well. So they start Barrett and Grimes and then they close with Hart and Brunson. Why they wouldn't just start with those guys, not Hart, but Hart and quickly. Why they don't start with those guys, I don't know. But this is the way that Thomas decides to run things. And he's had some success, but today, obviously, they lost. The next game, the Golden State Warriors get a victory on the road over the Rockets, 121-108. Kevon Looney was questionable heading into the game, but he played. He got his rebounds, 11 and 10 in 24 minutes. Not a huge amount else there, but 57% shooting is good. He was bad from the line, but we know that he's a reliable source of rebounds. We also had Kuminga play 26 minutes, 17, 3 and 4 on 78% shooting. As long as Wiggins is out and Peyton is out, Kuminga's at least streamable. Jordan Poole continues to honestly just play terribly. The 8 assists are good. The steal and the block are good. 5 points, 13%. That's dreadful. You can't drop him, but we'd love to see something turn around. And it was also a bad game from DiVincenzo. He only played 19 minutes, 5, 3 and 2. He got 3 steals, but shot 17%. The troubling thing there is the minutes, as they gave minutes to Poole and Lamb and Kuminga instead of DiVincenzo. I'm not dropping him, but that is a little bit of a red flag. Steph hurt his leg, but he returned. 36 minutes, 30 points, 5 threes, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals and a block. While Clay had 29 and 7 with 5 threes. Good games. Draymond had a Draymond. 8 points on 100% shooting, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, steal and a block. Not really much more to say there, I don't think. For the Rockets, Alperen Şengün was out, so they started Jabari Smith at center.
Smitty.
And that's going pretty well. 17 and 11 with a 111, 47% shooting. Smith does remain a 12-team league guy. And that meant they could start Tari Eason at power forward. 21 and 12 with 4 steals and 56% shooting. Love it. I'm now torn. What do we do here? Because as a reserve, then there's nothing there. But there was no Tate or no Şengün here, and that really helped Eason. So he's probably on the fringes. Like before today, 223rd over the last week. Absolutely not good enough as a 12-team league player. This is. But we can't get 31 a night. So it's probably, if Şengün returns next game, and he was out with an illness here, Eason goes back to a streamable option off the waiver wire. We had Jalen Green play 41 minutes. He was questionable heading in. 20 points, 3 threes, inefficient, but we got a steal and a block out of him, but that's going to be the case with him a lot. And Cousin Kev had 17, 5 and 5 on, only 27% shooting, but the 3 steals is nice for him. KJ Martin was okay. 13 points, 2 steals, nothing spectacular there. He's not really droppable, but he is moving maybe more towards on the fringes. We stream when we need sort of a type of player. While it was a better game from Josh Christopher with 10 points in 22 minutes, it does help that Tate was out. I'd argue they just should put Tate out the whole time to give Christopher those minutes, but they probably won't do that. The big takeaway here is the play of Smith, which continues to be good, and Eason filling in for Şengün, although I'm not 100% convinced that's going to be able to maintain when Şengün returns. The next game, I don't know what happened there. Dallas scored 12 points in the fourth quarter. 12. They lose 112, 108 to the Grizzlies. There was no Luka Doncic in this one, but Kyrie played and Tim Hardaway played. 33 minutes for Kyrie, 28 points, 4 rebounds, a steal, 2 blocks. Pretty good numbers overall. We also got 19 minutes of Jaden Hardy. Last time Luka was out, Hardy played like 4 minutes. So this was out of the blue. He had 20 points. I think he had 16 in the third. 4 triples, 4 assists. Maybe that's wrong, the 16 and 3, but he definitely had a nice little scoring burst. 20 points is great. I don't really feel good about being able to trust that, though, while I do feel better about trusting Christian Wood. 20 and 9 in 29 minutes, also 6 assists. Now, him maintaining this playing time when Luka returns is probably the big question mark, but he was able to put up great numbers on high usage. Josh Green didn't get it done. He really does struggle when either Kyrie or Luka are playing. 12 and 3 with not much there. We don't need to hold him. While Bullock did nothing. Dwight Powell, who had 20 points a couple of games ago, had 6 points in 12 minutes, and Hardaway stunk. Only took 4 shots, Tim, in 25 minutes. Bro, what else are you doing out there? 2 points in 25 minutes for him, 2 steals, 25% shooting, a stinking game, and you can very, very easily. I don't even care that Luka's not back. Like, just drop him.
Get that garbage out of here!
Huge minutes from Maxi Kleber. He missed all of his shots, but he had 2, 8, and 4 with a steal and a block. He's just a guy that they rely upon. His fantasy value is not really there because of the extraordinarily low usage, but he can occasionally be a blocks guy or threes guy. He just sort of soaked up minutes here. Again, I don't really know where they go with Wood moving forward from here in terms of when Luka plays, but it was a step forward. But I feel good that Kleber's going to get good playing time. No jar for the Grizzlies. We got 28 minutes of Santi Aldama. I thought Aldama could be a stream guy today because Jaren might not play, but it didn't matter because Jaren played. 22 and 14 for Aldama with 2 triples. Now, that has not been the pattern for him at all, but they closed with Aldama and Jackson in the front court, and Tillman played only 26 minutes. 3 and 3, a steal and a block for Xavier T. Illman. His value continues to be all over the place. I still think he is worth a hold, but there's a lot of uncertainty around it. Much like I wouldn't rush to grab Aldama. He was great here, but he also hasn't been anywhere close to this in any previous game. Tyus Jones, 16, 2 and 6. Like it. It's good. The value is going to drop next game with Jar out, with Jar back. But as I said, Dylan Brooks is going to be suspended for that game, so maybe we can hold on to Tyus for one more game. As for Brooks, he had 9, 4 and 5, and you can jack him comfortably.
Get that garbage out of here!
While Kennard had 10 points in 25 minutes, I think it's going to be very hard for him to maintain value once Jar and Brooks are playing together. But again, he might fill in for some of those Dylan Brooks minutes. I don't know whether they start him or they start John Conchar or they start David Roddy in place of Brooks next game, or they start Jones. I don't think they'll do that, but those other options are probably. I don't think it'll be Kennard. I think it'll be someone like a Conchar who steps in. Not something we necessarily need to do in terms of rostering him though. Bain had 17 points, but the poor shooting really hurt. He had 6 rebounds and 2 assists there as well. Well, Jaren played only 23 minutes because he had 5 fouls, so that does help Aldama's playing time. 28 for Jaren, 4 rebounds with a block in 63% shooting, 7 of 10 from the line. But as always, we get frustrated by the foul issues at times for him. The last game of the night, the old Utah Jazz get the win over the Kings, 128-120. This is a weird game. The Jazz jumped out, I think it was 40-19 at the end of the first quarter. The Kings caught back up, got in front, and the Jazz went on a run to end the game, all without Lauri Markkanen. Huge game, weird game. For the Kings, there was no Kevin Huerter. Now, originally, there was a reporter who said that Huerter was playing and Lyles was out, but that was wrong. He got it the wrong way around. Huerter was out, and as I said, I didn't expect him to play without hamstring injury. I don't know why they just don't rule him out for a week. It's frustrating, but that's my expectation here for Huerter. He was out, and they went with Kessler Edward starting again and playing in the bench role. I don't get it. I don't know what the point of it is. 19 minutes, 6 points. Why do they start him? The other thing that's confusing is last game, Terrence Davis played 30 minutes. Terrence Davis played 5 today with 1 point. I thought Davis actually played well last game. Yes, they were minus 13 in his 5 minutes. He had a 48% usage. He missed all 4 of his shots. He definitely wasn't feeling it. But you probably could have gone back to him at some other point, I think. Probably didn't need to see 4 minutes of Keon Ellis, to be honest. That's a bit weird. Darren Fox played 30... back on Davis. This doesn't mean he's going to play 5 minutes a night if Huerter's out. Doesn't mean he's going to play 30. But someone asked me, like, is he his great ad for the back-to-back? And my thing was, you could get 60 minutes out of him. You could get 0. Now, I didn't expect the 0 to come, or close to 0 to come when Huerter was out. But there is so much uncertainty with him in his playing time. And that really bit us on the arse in this one for sure. 37 points for Fox with 7 assists and 6 triples, while Sabonis had only 11 points on 36%. You don't normally get that from Sabonis, but he had the 12 rebounds and 9 assists. And Keegan Murray was able to pick up usage with no Huerter. 22 and 6, 6 triples, a steal and a block. We love seeing that. We love seeing 16 shot attempts. Yes, prior to this, he hasn't been particularly good, 173rd in category leagues. Over the last week, 153rd for the season. But the absence of Huerter, I think, is going to help. And also helped a little bit the pencil Harrison Barnes. Barnesy. 16 and 6 with 2 triples. Still an okay game. Not Darren Fox. Malik Monk, 15 points, 24 minutes. He was a team worst minus 24, but he still got his minutes. He is still worth having while Huerter is out over Davis. So roll with him tomorrow, and then we reassess after that. Not much else going on here. We got a lot of extra minutes for Trey Lyles, 26 of them. He had 3 points on 17%. Now, he had been better than that, but he is very, very far away from being a 12-team must. On to the Jazz. There was no Markkanen, there was no Clarkson, there was no Sexton. I'm expecting these guys, especially Clarkson and Sexton, to be out a while here. Markkanen, I think he'll be in and out. Someone asked me on the pregame show about Ochai Agbaji. I said, what I said about Agbaji is I think they're going to find a way to get him 30 minutes a night and to start the rest of the season by sitting somebody out every game. And then I looked at some of Agbaji's start numbers as a starter. He'd average like 12 points with 1 rebound and 1 assist, or so 1.8 rebounds and 1 assist on, not great numbers. I said, look, he's just at this point not a good fantasy player. And then he goes out and does this. 27 points for Agbaji. 6 triples, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and a block, and that is unbelievable. That's a fantastic game. He was very, very good. He shot the ball excellently, 60% from 3, which we know is not going to stick. He got the extra 23 usage. Well, he didn't get extra 23 usage. He got 23 usage. That does help with no Markkanen and Clarkson, so he took on that role. So that's at least streamable. But again, before today, 154th over the last week, 366th for the season. That's a horrendous number. 363rd in points leagues per game, averaging 10 fantasy points. Yes, the minutes have started to come up, but it's not like he's playing 4 minutes a night all season. He just has been very bad. This was a really strong game, and I think that the extra usage will help him. We just got to hope that efficiency sticks. That can be tough to do. So if you do want Agbaji, go ahead, right? Not a problem at all. They play Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, so a good 3 games in the next 5 nights. That's very, very strong. And I expect that he will start and play 30-plus minutes in all of those games. But I just don't think we're going to see that level of usage, and that the Markkanen thing is going to impact him. Like, if Markkanen's out the rest of this week, then yeah, sure, look, Agbaji's going to be much better. But also, it is so dependent on his shooting because he doesn't provide much in those other areas. And we know that shit can go tits up really quickly. Walker Kessler, I thought, was excellent. 10 and 8 with 5 blocks, while Chris Dunn, 31 minutes for Dunny. 18, 2 and 10, a steal and a block. As long as Sexton is out, and the boost of Clarkson being out, he's a 12-team league guy. And the same goes for Horton Tucker, even though he didn't play well. 10, 6, and 4 for THT on 33% shooting. But the reason he played 21 minutes while Dunn played 31, part of it was Dunn played well, but Horton Tucker also had 5 fouls in 21 minutes. So they went with Dunn. Another interesting fact, do you know Horton Tucker is younger than Agbaji? Simone Fontecchio started in place of Markkanen, 12 points, 4 threes. He's been very inefficient so far in his NBA career. He can be a threes streamer, but even if Markkanen's out, we're only really looking probably in 16-teamers. And they went back to Udoka Azubuike as the backup center over Damian Jones. Azubuike was good. 13 and 8, a steal and a block, 100% shooting. That's a great line. I don't know that he's going to play every single night, but if he's on a little run here as a backup, then that becomes a deeper league. 20-team, 18-team, maybe 16-team streamer, because that line there, 13-8, steal, block, 100% shooting, that's actually a 12-team line. I don't have any faith in this bloke who's done nothing across his NBA career to be able to do that regularly, or even hold this backup spot regularly. But it's definitely something to open our eyes a little bit, because he was able to produce, and we love someone who can produce. The lines of the night, the monstrous does go to the double royal, Julius Randle. The waiver wire is Taurean Prince, fluky shooting there. Young gun is Agbaji, and the dud of the night is PJ Washington Jr. Your top 10 players in category leagues. Number 1 was Randle, followed by Embiid, Conley, De'Aaron Fox, Taurean Prince, Steph, Vooch, Agbaji, Nick Richards, and Klay Thompson. Your top 10 players rostered in under 50% of leagues. Number 1 was Prince, very, very fluky. Sure, stream him if Edwards is out, but also look back literally 2 games ago to see how shit that can turn out. Number 2 was Agbaji. As we just said, if Markkanen's out, yeah, I really like it. I'm a little bit worried about depending on the shooting, but the value and the volume is there. Value and volume, huh? Santi Aldama. I loved what I saw with him closing the game with Jaren Jackson. I don't know if they're going to go to that more, but I'm interested. I'm not adding in 12s, but I'm interested. His previous games had stunk before this one. Jaden Hardy. One thing that Jason Kidd said is that he was going to close the game with Hardy, but apparently he sprained his ankle and wasn't able to go, or they didn't feel confident in him being confident in his ankle. Whatever bullshit Jason Kidd spins. He played over Justin Holiday in this game, and last game it was Holiday over Hardy, so I'm not getting too excited about Hardy. But if Doncic is out, he could be worth a dice roll. You're John Kuminga. I almost called him Yon for some reason. John Kuminga at number 5. Loved it. 78% efficient, or shooting's not great, or not reliably. It's not reliable. That's the word I'm looking for. But he's at least streamable. 6 is Isaiah Jackson, who, much like Azubuike, put up a great 12-team line as a backup. Us having faith in him getting backup minutes is the tough part. I actually don't mind trying him out as an option in 12s. Azubuike right there behind him. Again, that's solid enough for deeper leagues if he sticks in that role. Jalen Noel at number 8 in Minnesota. If Edwards is out, if you're looking for points, maybe. Mathurin comes in at number 9. Go back and add him now. He was dropped in a lot of spots. You can go back and add him now that he's back and starting. And then Anthony Lamb at number 10, which I don't think we need to worry about him outside of very, very deep formats. Your top 10 players in points leagues today. Number 1 was Embiid, followed by Randle, Fox, Conley, Curry, Vucevic, Levine, DeRozan. How often do you see that? 3 guys from the same team, 6, 7, and 8. Tari Eason at number 9, and Jalen Brunson at number 10. And guys, that'll do it for me today. Don't forget to follow this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and on the Odyssey app. And if you're on YouTube, thumb it up and leave those comments down below. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.